So DPM Lawrence Wong just cancelled the SA. It's a very big change. Everyone's talking about it, and the truth is, I spent hours trying to research on solutions online. Has anyone found a good alternative to CPF shielding hack? And what I found is that no, there's absolutely no better alternative. There's a one-for-one replacement. But what I also did find is that if you exercise a little bit of due diligence, a bit of knowledge and research, you can find things that are better in some other ways. So I saw the full 1.5 hour speech, I took notes, and I want to make a full video diving deep to analyze what are some insights for stocks and property investors, what jobs or sectors the government is really pushing hard now so that you can find opportunities, because ultimately you can ride the wave and what big. If you want to watch that video, stay tuned. You can subscribe or check out the next video. I probably will link it over here. But this video, we're just going to talk purely about the CPF changes because everyone's talking about it right now, and I got a couple of thoughts on how you can get better returns than what the CPF is about. But before we can even dive deep, we first need to understand carefully what exactly is the CPF SA, like what category it belongs to. So after we understand it thoroughly, we understand what options we are given, which is the RA times 4, then we can think, hey, how's everything amongst all these things? Because if you don't understand everything, how to make a good decision? So as an investor myself, I've never really fancied the CPF. I didn't really think it was the best bang for my buck, but I can understand why people can get very upset. Let's dive deep, understand what exactly is CPF shielding in the first place. Because the fact is, I actually did this technique for my mom when she turned 55. So how it works is that you have 3 accounts, right? But really there's 2 accounts that we are talking about, the OA, CPF OA, CPF SA. And when you turn 55 years old, the government will create a 4th account known as your RA or your retirement account. So what happens is that your RA, the new account, needs to be topped up or filled up. So they will use money from your SA first, then use your OA to top it up to your basic retirement sum or your full retirement sum. But here's the problem. The CPF OA has the lowest interest rate of all these 3 accounts that we're talking about at 2.5% right now. So obviously, why would you want to take from SA, which is 4.08%, and don't take from OA, which is 2.5%? Yeah, but that's how the rule is created. So what people have been doing, or this is what is known as CPF shielding, is that they would invest your SA money. So what I did for my mom was that I bought government bonds. 3 months government bonds at almost no interest. It's okay because, Singapore government doesn't really lose money, or at least I think they don't. Then what happened is that because when they opened the RA when my mom was 55, they see, hey, SA no money liao. So what do? They take it from the OA first. And then afterwards, the 3 months bond is up, the SA money goes back into the SA account. So as a result, your SA will be full, your RA will be full of your OA money. And that's how people have been maximizing their interest rates using this CPF shielding technique. So last week, what happened was that the Singapore government announced that they will be cancelling SA. Basically, when you turn 55, what happens is that your SA is going to be closed. When your account is closed, the money either goes back to your OA, then that defeats the whole shielding thing, or it goes back to your RA, which then again defeats the shielding effect, because SA, you can withdraw it anytime, but RA is a lot more restrictive. So when we look at this SA versus RA account, is having more money in RA really such a bad thing? When we look at investing, there's actually different types of asset classes. There is your cash or cash equivalents, there are your equities, your stocks and shares, there is your fixed income, your bonds, your government bills, and then there's your real estate, whether you're buying a property outright, your REITs, all these are real estate, and then there's your commodities. So when we look at CPF SA, because of how liquid and flexible you can withdraw that money, it's actually considered sort of like cash or cash alternatives. Whereas your RA is actually considered more of a fixed income, sort of like an annuity. So all else being equal, fixed income should provide better returns compared to your cash because it's more restrictive, right? But here's where it's different, because SA is very flexible, but yet it also gives you a high interest rate. So yes, the government changes can be perceived as bad, but in the first place, do we really have control of all our CPF money in the first place? So if your investment money revolves around government policy, it's already a very huge risk in which you cannot control yourself. So the government has announced that there is about 2% of Singaporeans that reach 55, or about 90,000 people, my mom included, that have used this CPF shielding hack. And when this change happened, this 90,000 people, obviously they're going to be upset, except my mom. She's fine. She doesn't know anything about it. And I went to check the market, like, hey, is there any cash or cash equivalent alternatives? Because if you look at other asset classes, it's different, right? The profile is different. So what I found is that there is absolutely no viable alternatives. Full stop. Let's look at some of the options that we have. Okay, so CPF SA is high interest rate, guaranteed interest or safety of a capital, and is very liquid. So right now, when you look at the short-term government bonds, the problem is that it's not long-term. It's only 3.6%. It doesn't even beat the 4.08%. Longer term, even lesser. SSB bond, even lesser. So they all don't beat the interest rate that, a CPF SA gives. But if we look at money market funds like your Lion SG fund, I think right now it's slightly more than 4%. And here's the big problem. First, your capital is not protected. I think the maximum drawdown that ever happened was 2% drop before for your money market funds. And the US Fed has already announced that they're going to cut interest rates. So when that happens, your MMFs will immediately take a hit. So very fast, it would drop, or it's likely or expected to drop. So yeah, if it drops, it's definitely not going to meet 4.08%. In short, there's really no alternatives. But if you look at your other asset classes like your equities or your real estate, of course you can beat 4%. Of course there are opportunities for you to beat 4%. But I must say a big but, there's risk. So risk is dangerous if you don't understand what you're investing, because you'll panic. You do stupid things that will cause you to lose even more money. So when we think of investment alternatives, we need to consider risk and personality, right? Because not everyone is very comfortable with seeing a lot of numbers. My mom goes crazy after she sees 7 numbers and above, she'll just explode, she'll just shut down. So if you're the kind of person, you don't want to care about, huge returns, but you don't take that risk. You don't want to, see your bank account go down. It scares the hell out of you. You cannot sleep at night. Or you're just lazy to go and learn about all this investing stuff because it's boring. It doesn't interest you. Then just learn how to maximize your withdrawals for RA. There's actually 2 big criteria that still allows you to withdraw, I think, almost as much as $100,000. Yeah, so I just paste it up here. You can still withdraw your RA. It's not 100% cannot take the money out. In fact, our government now allows you to put up to 4 times your basic retirement sum. So you can put you can put more than $400,000 inside of it. So yes, you still have some liquidity. It provides you a fixed income. So win-win. But if you're willing to put in the effort to research, there's actually a lot of other options that provide a better returns with risks that can be diversified away or managed. So the question you need to really ask yourself when it comes to this, because SA bopian already, it's gone. But now when we are looking at other options, right, you need to ask yourself, hey, do you really want to spend the effort, the brain power, that time to managing your CPF money and get a better return? If it's not worth it, then yeah, it doesn't matter. So for me, I understand stocks, I understand real estate and cryptos a little bit better. But I'm not like a deep expert that analyzes a particular sector of stocks or real estate. So I don't want to, talk about investing in individual tickers because it's very risky. So for me, the strategy I'll be sharing today would be investing in indexes for more diversification and yet at the same time have better returns than the 4.08% that the RA provides. So even at this level of investing, I can already find a lot of options that can beat the 4.08%. I'm going to share with you 3 options, but I must say they are more risky. So please go and read up on the risk and understand what you're investing so that you can, stomach the volatility. So the first one I want to talk about is the STI ETF. So ticker symbol ES3. So for the dividend yields for STI, it has been on the upwards trend. And why I really like this compared to what Warren Buffett, the world's best investor, recommend, which is to invest in the S&P 500. Number one, there's no foreign currency risk. So if you invest in the US dollar, you have to care about US dollar, which is an additional, brain cells that you need to use for this. But if you invest in the STI, it is Sing dollars. Don't need to care. You save it. You invest in Sing, you spend in Sing. Number 2, majority of the holdings for STI is concentrated in banks, which is both a good and a bad. So the good thing is that they give higher dividends compared to, say, S&P 500. But the downside is that the growth is slower. But if it beats 4.08%, it's relatively safe, grows over the long term, I won't complain. The third reason why I like the STI ETF is that there is no dividend withholding tax. So if you invest in the US market, every year you have to fill up the 8-band form, calculate your taxes, and bear in mind that there is dividend withholding taxes. It makes it a bit more complicated to how much money you're actually getting. Whereas for the STI, there is no taxes. In Singapore, if you're a resident, you get dividends, 0% tax. So what you see is what you get. No need to count and figure out if you're actually getting cheated or fill up a lot of forms, which can make things a lot more complicated. Want to get money, you also have to fill up so many forms, and tax here, tax there, very, very complicated. So keep it simple. My next recommendation is buying into Singapore real estate. So of course, you can buy a property. Bear in mind, once you are at 55, right, you want to take a bank loan, it's super hard. So unless you can buy a property full cash, but that also incurs a risk. You're buying one property, no diversification. If this property lose 200k, xiao liao, die. But if you buy REITs, you can buy a bunch of different properties with just buying one ticker symbol. So there are three that I recommend. They are very concentrated in Singapore real estates. And right now, if you buy any of these three REITs, the returns you can get is anywhere from 4 to 6%, depending on the price you enter. But bear in mind, because REITs are relatively newish in Singapore, all of them are down since market inception. But I think that REITs will benefit a lot when the US government start to cut interest rates. Then REITs, they borrow a lot of money, their cost basis will go down, and then the price, they'll start to make a lot of money. So three of them right now. Number one is Lion Phillips S REITs ETF, ticker symbol CLR. The second one is Nikko AM Straits Times Asia X Japan REIT, CFA, or CSOP or IHS Leaders Index. So all these are viable REITs to consider if you want to get income that beats the RA and maintain almost full liquidity with some risk. So of course, the last category I would explore is cryptos. But this is just for me because I understand crypto very well. I have a business involving crypto, but I honestly, cross my heart, I really don't recommend anyone who is not very tech savvy to get into cryptos with your retirement money. Because if you put in like 1 to 5% and hey, expect it to quite make big money, sure. If you want to put in 100% of your retirement money, no, please don't. Because there's just too high a chance that you can just lose 100% of the money. I've witnessed an auntie, use her HDB proceeds to invest in cryptos, and she was fighting with her husband who's saying it's a bad idea. She said, no, Bitcoin halving gonna make a lot of money. And I'm like, dude, you don't know the risk you're getting into. Because, okay, here are some of the big risks of cryptos. If you earn, sure, but the risk of 100% loss is really, really high. You can lose your digital wallet, you can get hacked, you can get scammed, you can send to the wrong place. Even reputable institutions like FTX or Hold Not, right? Temasek has invested money in this platform. Okay, do their due diligence. Even these platforms have disappeared and lost 100% of investors' funds, or almost 100% of investors' funds. So yeah, even MAS cannot tell some of these companies are more shady than they actually are. So what makes you and I special and can, invest and earn big money? Unless you absolutely know how to protect yourself and diversify your risk away, just generally don't touch cryptos, please. I think that are some of the options you can start to read up on, and I think are really easy to get started and can beat the SA returns. And here's the funny thing. I actually recently saw a couple of fixed deposit promotions because I think they know it's going to be cancelled. Now they want to chong all the deposits. Like ICBC Bank, right now they have this fixed deposit promotions that actually beat 4.08% interest rate, but they require you to buy some of the bank's other products. If you know whether these are actually good buys, please leave your comment and your experience below, because I have no idea what this, package products are, if it's even worth it to get that 4+% and buy insurance. Because yeah, if it makes sense, might be worth considering. But for me, I don't understand it. I cannot talk about it. So yeah, do check your comment sections on what everyone has been talking about, and check out the full video on my in-depth analysis on budget 2024 over here, or check out what YouTube recommends you over here, and I'll see you in the next video. Stay subscribed and invest safely. Take care, everyone.